Okay, well, come April 16th of this year, 2017, the Department of Labor will be regulating your 401k. Now, what the hell does this mean? This is actually an older post by none other than Marty or Martin Armstrong. And I got to tell you, I don't like his shenanigans about gold and silver, mainly gold, where he thinks, we're going to see much lower gold and stuff. And ever since he got released, he's been basically a person that's just been crapping on gold. And I don't know what or why. Not so sure about that. Don't know. But doesn't change the fact that some of the stuff he says and talks about isn't spot on. Period. Again, this is from last year, August of last year. He posted this. He's talking about what's going to happen in yours, and I would say mine, but I don't have one of those turds, 401ks. And first of all, understand that a 401k, that whole system was developed in the 1980s. A way to help people not have to rely on just Social Security. But they put these funny little rules in there. Like, you can never get out of the damn thing unless you are experiencing a financial hardship. And even though you might think you're experiencing a financial hardship, such as, used to have a good paying job. My husband, I'll pretend to be the wife. I used to have a good paying job. My husband, he used to have a decent paying job. Actually, he still has his decent paying job. But I took a pay cut. I could either go find another job or take a different position. My position got, canceled. And I wasn't about to go on the job market, so I had to accept this. So we still live in the same house, yada, yada, yada. But we can barely afford things. We are just like scraping by now. We can't save any more money now. We just don't have it. So I am experiencing a financial hardship. So I called my 401k company to see if I could get out of it. And the fact that I work and my husband works, not good enough. And even if he didn't work and I did work, it would be very difficult for me to still prove financial hardship since I had my full-time job. I might be able to pull it off, but it'd be really, really hard to do. That's the only way you can get out of a 401k. Unless your company has a specific plan with the investment company that's managing your 401k that allows you to park your money in the sidelines, so to speak, in cash. Take it out of the market. You get to hold my funds. They're still there. I'm not taking it out early. I'm not touching it. I just want it out of the market. Sorry, sir. Your plan does not have that. Your company is not using that plan with us. So now you have to go find sneaky ways to try to deal with this. Even if you want out badly, you can't get out. It's tough. So, speaking of 401ks, this boat anchor that's tied to your leg, and when it goes down, you're going with it, most of you. The financial services industry is undergoing its greatest upheaval perhaps in more than 35 years because the government came up with a brilliant new idea to pretend there is a crisis that they need to step in to save you from. I have warned that there has been talk about taking over 401k funds, which are about equal to the total national debt. There have been proposals that they just take control of that and stuff it by mandatory investment into government bonds. And I want to remind you real quick, remember the MIRA, My IRA that Obama created? The MIRA accounts. Why did that come out? We don't already have enough things we could put our money into? No, these are safe, protected government things, bonds you can go into. And I told you then when that came out a couple years ago, there's a reason. And the reason might be one day where the government saves you from an impending financial crisis by forcing your money into that. Or they may start with, any federal employee, you're automatically going into this. You're going to have a MIRA now. You used to have a pension. They're collapsing. We're going to put you into the MIRAs instead. That's where I foresaw that going. We're not there yet, though. Some countries already require pension funds to be conservative, and 85% of all money must be in government debt. The one thing we know, whenever a government claims it is doing something to protect you, you can be sure that the end result will only put more money in their pockets. As of 2017, what is yours will begin the process to become theirs. The new ruling from the Department of Labor affecting financial advice related to retirement plans is pretended to protect consumers against high fees, which necessitates the government stepping in to monitor your 401k. Next, no manager will be seen as competent, and the Department of Justice will start to target small retirement managers to expose them for fraud that they can then turn into a justification for government to take over all 401ks. This is how the whole thing will unfold, all because the off-budget expenditure, Social Security and Medicare, are up 66% during the Obama administration and go negative next year, which is this year, 2017. Because remember, this article is a year old, or almost a year old. One way to cope with all of this is to simply merge the failed government-managed funds with the private funds. Consequently, thousands of advisors around the nation are already scrambling to change their practices to fit the new regulations, which start to go into effect next January. Again, that's this January, with the balance in 2018. This coincides with their new international G20 regulation, whereby all countries will start reporting on everyone sharing that info among themselves to hunt for taxes. The Office of Management and Budget's $17 billion number for the 401k industry is too tempting. Are you sure he meant billion or trillion? Tempting for politicians to ignore when they are in desperate need of cash. They justify this fake seizure, claiming retired people are being ripped off with exorbitant fees, which is one of the biggest lies perpetuated by Obama, the Obama administration, or any administration in the past 100 years. This even beats the global warming scam, carbon credits, to raise taxes. Just ask our friends in Canada. They're experiencing it now as their gas prices just went up, and carbon credits. And there's big exemptions, by the way. I didn't read you that part. Big exemptions for the big polluters in Canada, the club, and their organizations, their industry. You get basically a pardon. You're not included. You don't have to comply. But they're the biggest polluters. We know. It's just for you little guys, because we need money. Like George Carlin said, he needs money. All powerful, all seeing, all knowing, but he can't get money. He needs money. Where was I? The Obama administration doesn't count in that figure any fees they regard as reasonable compensation. To Obama, they are all unreasonable. The propaganda government always rolls out is their favorite tool to enable some sinister plot to further their power. There was just a standard playbook. All politicians pretend to care for the people. Whenever they plan something sinister, they use props, like children, to surround themselves to pretend they are doing good. This is standard operational procedure. This time, they care so much about your future, they just can't keep their fingers out of your pocketbook. And I'm just going to share this picture with you for anyone who wants to see it. There's Obama signing in some nonsense legislation with these kids surrounding him. And look who else has a bunch of kids around them. Mr. Adolf Hitler, during one of his campaign speeches or whatever the hell he was doing about some awesome new law they need to pass, I'm sure. We begin to see dramatic changes that impact even the fringe advisors like those in the gold community. Telling people hyperinflation is coming and you should sell everything for only gold will rise will suddenly become illegal and probably criminal activity that the government can use as an excuse to seize everything. The consumer will end up having to pay for information that is separate and distinct from those selling the product. The final rule means advisors will have litigation to fear if they can't prove their retirement advice prioritized the client over themselves and they had no conflict of interest. Unquestionably, this is going to be a much bigger change than the industry expects. This will impact thousands of brokerages, advisory and insurance firms that offer free advice within the $25 trillion retirement services market as a whole. They will have to adjust all their operations and procedures to comply with the new rule. Again, the new rule says you have to look out for your customer first, you second, and if we think that you're trying to make money off the customer first as a priority instead of looking out for their benefit, well, then we may have to shut you down. And again, while it sounds good, we want to protect the people. What was that Ron Paul said? That the worst thing you ever want to hear is when you knock on the door comes and you say, "Who is it?" And they say, "We're here from the government. We're here to help." That means they are not there to help, and you are in trouble. They will have to adjust all their operations and procedures to comply with the new rule. Indeed, some of these changes will need to be so drastic and will fundamentally shift the advice landscape as well as the investment industry. As the DOL fiduciary rule begins to take effect next April, which again is this April, 2017, all financial advisors will be required to recommend what is in the best interests of clients when they offer guidance on 401k plan assets, individual retirement accounts, or other qualified monies saved for retirement. How are you going to be able to prove, okay, I got some clients, and at the time I put them into this group of stocks, and I definitely was looking out for them, and it's obvious. But then all of a sudden, those stocks take a dump, because the bankers come out and flood the market with their sell orders, spoofing and whatever, high-frequency trading, fake orders, market crashes. Oh, government's knocking. Hey, we're from the government. We're here to help. What can I help you with? We understand you have a lot of your clients in this fund that just took a massive dump. We don't think you were looking out for their best interests. You're now in violation of rule subsection C. We're going to have to fine you, and we're going to take over these accounts, put them in temporarily into the government bonds. Right. You never know what they can do. I'm just making this up right now, but you can clearly see where this is going. This rule does not apply to after-tax investment accounts that may be earmarked as retirement savings or just investing. However, the back office compliance departments will grow exponentially as a result. Citizens will have to sign documents swearing the monies are not for retirement. The current standard of requiring that investment advice be suitable will be out the window. They'll need to craft new administrative steps and invest millions in technology and training to meet the rules requirements. This will also mean advisors will face forced changes in how they are paid. However, the new rule doesn't ban commissions or revenue sharing. Nonetheless, it requires advisors to accept them to have clients sign a best interest contract exemption. Of course, that will be Pandora's box to open for lawyers, which they will do, of course. The bottom line means that the advisor will have to act in the client's best interests and only earn reasonable compensation. Again, decided by who defines those. What is reasonable? What is, The exemption also must disclose information to clients about fees and conflicts of interest. Thus, a client will be able to then sue the advisor for any fees he gets from someone else to promote an investment like precious metals or municipal bonds. The nightmare that will unfold is that advisors who are really only domestic oriented will suffer losses for their clients and then be sued. The mere threat of increased liability will push many small managers/advisors away from a long tradition of charging clients based on transactions to a compensation method that carries lower liability risks that of billing clients a set fee. This means that paying someone a performance fee may gradually fade away. However, fee-based accounts typically don't make money for firms and thus offer little economic sense for firms. Advisors will be forced to drop undersized retirement accounts, leaving the little guy stranded. This will even impact insurance companies who do have higher commission generating annuity products. We are most likely going to see earnings from companies like Lincoln Financial Group, Prudential Financial, and MetLife, etc. decline. The DOL rule will undoubtedly limit investor choice, and this may be the end goal. The DOL's final rule is increasing the pressure also on the SEC to approve a uniform fiduciary standard. This could have a serious impact on proprietary trading of banks as well. So here it comes. The first step in regulating the 401k, and they will be looking to prosecute people for conflicts of interest to make an example of them to justify a further takeover. That is how all countries roll when they have to go down that path. We are no different than any other country who have all gone down these paths before. History has showed this numerous times. I've explained a million times. The Roman Empire has done it. Other big, powerful countries, nations have done it. They all practice the same crap we practice: fractional reserve lending, paper money backed by nothing, fiat currency, until it all implodes. And before it all implodes, they're going to scramble for every last little crumb penny they can get out of you. They are going to be squeezing blood from us turnips, which is why I've always got my precious metals on standby out of their system in my possession for that rainy day. Take care.